Hey, I'm Vadim. I'm a video tech specialist here at Nagios, and in today's Jumpstart, I'll be showing you how to quickly get Nagios Log Server R2 running and configured in a few easy steps. This will help you get a baseline down so you can get logging quickly. With that said, let's get started. After you log in, you can find some metrics that you are currently monitoring. On the home page, you'll find unique hosts, active alerts, and instances. Unique hosts is the configured devices that you have set up that is sending logs into Log Server. Active alerts shows us any real-time and host freshness alerts that can be set up for any users to be notified. Instances show us how many log servers you have connected as a backup or failsafe. Below you can find a number of logs that have been recorded, as well as log entries within the last 2 weeks, disk usage, and more. On the top of the page, you could find a quick way to start adding logs from Windows, Linux, network devices, and other. You could also click Add a Log Source at the top, which brings you to a bigger page with application logs, file monitoring, and archived logs. The first modification that we'll make to this log server is turning this into dark mode. So you want to click on this little profile icon. Under Account Actions, you could find User Themes, and I'll change this to Dark Theme. This makes it easier on the eyes when using Log Server. Now let's add a network device such as a switch, router, IP cameras, or anything that is connected to the internet and creates logs. In this example, I'll be adding an IP camera as well as a Windows server to start logging. What we want to do first is either click Network Device or click Add a Log Source, then click Network Device. Here we see the configuration setup. We need the log server IP address, and then we need the TCP/UDP port. Below that, you can find a drop-down that says Cisco or Juniper. You could add those devices by following these instructions. In my example, I'll click on Generic, and now I want to go to the IP address of the IP camera. So we will open a new tab. We could type in the IP address to the camera. Then we could go to Settings, and we should find a tab labeled Logs. We will click here. In this setting, you'll find the remote system logs. Here we can find the host, format, protocol, port, severity, and other settings. We will focus on the host. We will type in our host address for our log server in here, which would be 160.168. For the format, we're going to choose 3164 instead of 5424. And for the protocol, we'll leave UDP. And for the port, we got to set it to 5544. And we'll leave the rest of the settings and click Save. Once that is saved, go back to the Nagios Log Server and enter in the IP address of the IP camera. Then you'll click Verify. Below that, you'll see that it's verified and there are 11 logs from this host. Once you go back to Home, you'll see that now you have 2 unique hosts. Now we will add a Windows device. We will click on Windows. And to get started, we need to download NXLog CE before going forward. And once we have downloaded NXLog, we want to go to File Explorer and go to this path to change this config file. You could select the whole config file by clicking this button here. Now that we have copied this config file, let's go ahead and install NXLog on our Windows device. And now that we are on our Windows device, we want to go to a browser and then search for NXLog CE. Down below, we find NXLog Community Edition. We'll click that and click Download. We'll specify which operating system we're using, which would be Windows, and we'll download the first file labeled Windows x86-64. And we want to make sure this is an MSI file. We'll click this checkbox and click Download. And we'll click no thanks, just start my download. And then we'll just download it into this folder. Then once it's finished downloading, we will click the file. Then we could click next, read the license agreement, and once you accept it, check this box and hit next. Now it's showing us a place to install. I'm going to change this to program files 86. So we could go in, specify the C drive, then go to program files 86. Then I'll create a new folder and label it NX Log. Once we've selected this folder, we'll click OK and press next and install. It'll ask if we want to allow this app. Click yes. And once that is done, you could have the README open. I'll uncheck this and click finish. Now that we have installed NX Log, I will exit out of this browser and go into File Explorer. Go into the C drive. Go into Program Files 86. Then search for NX Log. Then click on NX Log. Go to the CONF folder or the config folder. And we're going to edit this NX Log config folder. And you're going to want to click edit. I'm going to edit with my Notepad++. Then we're going to click here and press Ctrl-A to select all the text and backspace to delete. Then what we want to do is right-click and press paste. This will paste the previous log server information that we needed. And what we want to do next is hit File and click Save. This prompt asks us to launch Notepad++ in administrator mode. We'll click Yes and hit Yes again. And now click File and click Save. Once that is saved, the next thing you want to do is go to Windows, type in CMD, and run as administrator. Click Yes. And following the documentation, the next thing we need to do is type in net start NX Log. This prompt says that our NX Log is already started. What we want to type in is net stop NX Log. We want to make sure to reset NX Log because we've changed the config file, so we'll stop it. We'll type in net start NX Log again. And once NX Log has started, we also want to find the device's IP address. We could do that by typing in ipconfig on Windows. And what we're looking for is the IPv4 address for the local link. Now let's go back to our Nagios Log Server instance. And scrolling down, we can find that command that we previously ran, net start. And below that, we could verify incoming logs. So we will enter in that IP address that we just found on our Windows device. And we'll click Verify. Now we can see that it's verified 14,000 logs from this IP address. Now, if we go back to Home, we can see that we have 3 unique hosts. Now that we've added these 3 unique hosts, we want to make sure that we get notified when these hosts have some kind of issue or problem. To add an email to Log Server, what we want to do next is go to Admin. Then under General, we could find Mail Settings. You could see that we have a From email, a Reply to email, as well as a Send email method. By default, it's PHP mail. I'm going to change it to SMTP server. I will be using a Gmail account, so the server address for Gmail would be smtp.gmail.com. The security type I'm going to use would be TLS, and the port that we're going to use is 587. And my username will be nagiostester123@gmail.com. Enter in your own email and password here, then I'll enter in my password. And at the bottom, it asks if you want to send email as text only instead of using HTML. I'll click this box and hit Save Settings. And the from email, I'll change to Nagios Tester. You could change this to whatever you'd like. I'll leave it as Nagios Tester. And after changing the reply to email, I will click this button to save again, and then I'll click this button to test my email settings. This will send a verification email to ensure that I'm getting notified. And we could check that by clicking our Outlook, and we could see that we've received a test message from Nagios Log Server. Now that we have email notifications set up, what we want to do next is create an alert. We could do that by clicking Alerting on the left side. Here we can click Add a new alert. I'm going to be monitoring 404 errors, so I'll name this 404 errors. I will leave the type as query, the query type of Apache 404 errors. The check interval I'll do 2 minutes, and the lookback period I'll do 15 minutes. And the threshold is going to be 2, and the critical is 3. You could customize this as you need. For my example, I'll just be using these numbers. And for notification methods, I'll be emailing users. And I'll select Nagios Admin, which is me. And I could take ownership. Taking ownership of this alert prevents the original user from making any edits unless they are an administrator. Now we'll click Create Alert. Now we see that the status is pending, and we're waiting for a check to be ran. Now we see that our alert status says OK and 0 matching entries. On the right side, you could also check this alert in a dashboard, run this alert now, deactivate this alert, edit this alert, or remove it. The last thing we'll be adding is a custom dashboard. So on the left side, go to Dashboards. In Dashboards, you could create your own virtual dashboard that you could customize as you wish. You could also zoom in to see further details. And you could click 404 errors, Windows updates, and it'll update in real time. You could add custom queries like 404 and Windows updates, and each query that you add will be marked with a different color depending on what you chose. You could also delete those queries by clicking this trash icon above the graph. There's a lot that you could do with dashboards, and you could customize as you wish. You could reset it here. Zoom in by holding and dragging the cursor icon above the graphs. And you could further zoom in to see which time period had the most problems. And if you wanted to save this dashboard, go to the top left and click Save as Report. You could name this to whatever you would like. I'll name it My Custom Dashboard. You could save as a report, or you could save as global reports for other users to see. If you wanted to add more dashlets, all you would need to do is click this plus icon, and you could select a panel type, a title, queries, chart options, or multi-series. For instance, we're going to do a histogram. We'll name it test. We'll do all the queries. We will do a line graph with points, and we'll delete bar, and we'll click save. Once we click save, we might want to scroll down, and now we could find that our test dashlet is here. We could also drag this up and left and right as we need. We could also rescale this dashlet if we want it bigger or smaller. And all you have to do is click save to save your dashboard. If you wanted to see a sample dashboard, all you need to do is click this button here and go to top sources and types. Now you could see a view of dashboards and how they could look. And there you have it. I hope this has helped you get started with Log Server so you could stay on top of all your log data. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our YouTube channel for more helpful tutorials. And if you have any further questions, please visit support.nagios.com. I'll see you in the next one.